Inspector Mara Vale here. Tonight you'll face 3 cases, 3 crime scenes, 3 liars hiding in plain sight. In each case, one detail exposes the truth. Watch carefully, because once the timer starts, you'll have only 5 seconds to solve it. I'm Inspector Mara Vale. Every case has a pressure point. Find the single detail that doesn't fit, and the whole story collapses. This is You Solve the Case, Part 1. Our process is simple. Watch the environment. We deal in physical facts, not intuition. I'll provide the setup, the witness statements, and the evidence. Then you'll have 5 seconds on the clock to make the call. We're starting with a straightforward case, but pay attention. Overconfidence is how even the best detectives overlook the obvious. The call came in at 10:20 p.m., an upscale estate in the middle of a heavy, relentless rainstorm. At the center of the scene is Evelyn Cross. When police arrived, she was distraught, standing just inside the front door. Her story? Someone murdered her husband while she was out for a walk through the storm. She was standing there in the hall, clutching a soaking wet umbrella. Her entire defense relies on that walk. If the rain didn't actually touch her, the alibi is over. Let's look at the timeline. Evelyn claims she walked in the pouring rain from 9:50 p.m. until 10:15. However, a neighbor heard a scream at exactly 10:05 p.m. If she was outside that entire window, she couldn't be inside when the scream happened. But we don't just rely on what people say. We look at the physical reality of the entranceway. When statements conflict, the environment provides the final verdict. Look at the umbrella. It's heavily saturated, actively dripping water onto the floor. Now look at her coat. It's high-end fabric, but it's almost completely dry. Finally, look at the floor. The tiles are immaculate. No puddles, no damp trails, and 0 wet footprints. A soaking umbrella, a dry coat, and a spotless floor. The physical data points are in conflict. Someone is lying. Who is it? You have 5 seconds. The answer is waiting in the details, provided you trust the physics of the room over the emotion of the suspect. Evelyn is the one lying. Walking through a severe storm for 25 minutes creates unavoidable fabric saturation. Rain isn't vertical, it's chaotic. It gets under umbrellas. It soaks shoes. The combination of a dry coat and a pristine floor makes her timeline physically impossible. She never left the house. The wet umbrella was a stage prop. She held it under a faucet to simulate a walk that never happened, manufacturing an alibi. One inconsistency is all it takes to close the file. But if you found this one easy, the next case is significantly colder. Prepare for room 214. Lies are loud, but physics is patient. I'll see you in the next case. I'm Inspector Mara Vale. This is a case that, on the surface, defies the laws of physics. We have a locked door, a closed window, and the room key found sitting on a table deep inside the room. I'm going to walk you through the statements from the morning and the physical state of the room. You'll have 5 seconds to find the loophole before I reveal the solution. Pay attention to the specific objects on the table. One detail explains exactly how the killer manipulated this space from the outside. Impossible cases are rarely the work of the supernatural. They are almost always the result of a very simple mechanical trick. At 6 a.m., the hotel owner was found dead inside room 214. The perimeter was solid. There are no secret passages, just a single door and a single window, both secured from the inside. On the table near the heater, we found 3 items: a half-empty coffee cup, the room key with a thin piece of string still looped through the handle, and a small puddle of water. To understand what happened here, we have to look at these objects not as trash, but as components of a machine. 3 people were in the hallway in the hour leading up to the discovery. The victim's business partner says he left the hotel for good at 5 a.m. At 5:30 a.m., the hotel chef delivered coffee to the door. Finally, at 5:45 a.m., the maid knocked but received no answer. 3 accounts that put these people in the hallway, yet the room remained sealed from the inside the entire time. We need to look at the physical state of the room at 6 a.m. The coffee is still warm and the space heater is glowing. The key sits on the table, still attached to that short length of string. Then there is the puddle. It is sitting right next to the heater and is almost entirely melted. This wasn't a spill. This water is the final trace of an ice cube that was placed there intentionally. Using the timeline and the objects on the table, tell me, how did the killer lock the door from the outside? You have 5 seconds. The killer tied the key to a block of ice, balancing it on the interior lock before closing the door. As the heater melted the ice, the key dropped, engaging the lock and securing the room from the inside. This trick is a waiting game. It takes significant time for ice to melt, even near a heater. The business partner, leaving at 5 a.m., is the only one with a full hour for the ice to melt and secure the door. The impossible room was a simple matter of thermodynamics. Once the ice turned to water, the killer's alibi evaporated. Case closed. If you spotted the string and the timing of the heater, you were ahead of the investigation. Our next case takes us to a final dinner. 5 suspects, a dose of poison, and a detail that everyone in the room ignored. Click to see if you can solve the mystery of the final dinner. Inspector Mara Vale is facing her final case. 5 guests sat for dinner, but only 4 will leave. The host is dead, and the truth is trapped within these 4 walls. The rules for this investigation are absolute. Watch the suspects, study the objects, name the killer. Everything you need to solve this is right in front of you. No hidden evidence will appear at the last second, and no random twists will save you. This is a game of pure logic. The clock stopped for the host at 9:30 p.m. He collapsed mid-meal, and the cause was immediately identified as poison. The perimeter was sealed. No one entered or left the room during the service, and the host's plate remained untouched by anyone else from the moment the first course arrived. Within this room, every guest had a motive. Every guest had a reason to see the evening end in tragedy. To find the murderer, you don't need a confession. You only need to find the one statement that the physical evidence proves is impossible. Arthur, the host's brother, claimed he never moved from his seat by the fireplace all evening. Clara, the singer, was quick to state she never had physical contact with the host's glassware. Julian, the lawyer, provided a chronological anchor, claiming the host was still alive and well when the dessert course reached the table. Nora, the maid, explained the logistics of the drinks, stating she served everyone at the table from a single shared bottle of wine. Victor, the doctor, was the most certain. He analyzed the scene and concluded the poison must have been in the wine. In a murder investigation, a helpful expert can be the most dangerous person in the room. Often, a quick diagnosis is less about solving the crime and more about deciding where the investigators shouldn't look. The wine bottle that Nora served from was tested immediately. It was clean. The plates from the main course were also scrutinized. Again, no trace of toxins. The dessert course, which Julian mentioned, was tested as well. It was also free of poison. Looking closer at the host's immediate surroundings, we find only a few items within arm's reach, including a single lit candle sitting right at the edge of his place setting. And then, the anomaly. Inside the host's tea, a single sugar cube was found half melted, slowly dissolving into the hot liquid. While the room focused on the shared wine bottle, one man remained remarkably composed, ensuring the group's attention stayed exactly where he wanted it. Now look at the statements again. One person's expertise doesn't match the physical reality on the table. You have 5 seconds. Name the killer. Victor is the killer. He attempted to use his medical authority to close the case before it even began. The poison wasn't in the wine or dinner. It was hidden inside the sugar cube, remaining inert until needed. The hot tea acted as the trigger. As the sugar dissolved, the poison released into the only cup it was meant for, the host's. Victor claimed the poison must be in the wine. He offered this specific lie to ensure Mara Vale would ignore the teacup long enough for the sugar cube to disappear completely. His guilt was hidden in his speed. Only someone who already knew the host was poisoned would have recognized the symptoms instantly. By offering a fake source for the toxin, he proved he was managing the crime scene, not assisting it. That concludes the final case. Now, let's see how your skills as an investigator hold up across the series. 1 correct solution makes you a rookie, 2 makes you an investigator, and if you solved all 3, you've earned the rank of detective. A perfect score is rare. It requires looking past the noise of a crowded room to find the one detail that cannot be explained away. Comment your rank below to finalize your record, and subscribe to be notified when the next case file is opened. The investigation is now complete. Case closed.
I hope you're becoming a good detective. Now, to help me to find other criminals, please leave a comment, give a like, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next week.